Hey, this is Eric Erdman, and you are streaming Gaining Fast on Memphis podcast with Jillian and Aaron Shriver.
When I know what I have is plenty.
Welcome to the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver, brought to you by Arlo Revolution. Each week, Aaron connects melodies and memories with fans and artists from all genres of life. When all else in life is gone, only music will be left to leave the legacy of life's adventures. Please welcome your host for the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast, Aaron Shriver.
All right, we are here. We are live. We are live on YouTube today. For some reason, Facebook is not picking it up. So if you guys are on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. We are excited for this show. It's going to be a really good one. We're going to check audio, make sure everything sounds good. Good on your end. We're going to get rolling right off the bat. I love this. Hello and welcome everyone to season 6 of the Gaining Fast on Memphis podcast, a place where we connect memories to melodies. I'm your host, Aaron Shriver. Our mission tonight is to provide a platform for motivated singer-songwriters, passionate fans, or someone who is making a difference in and around the music community. We hope everyone listening leaves inspired with a positive outlook and begins connecting their own memories to melodies. Sorry, I edited my own words this week. Today we are presented by our good friends at Arlo Revolution, cinematic wedding films, music videos, and promos. Find them at arlorevolution.com. One Tree Planted. For every 1,000 downloads of the show, we plant a tree with One Tree Planted. Download the show on your favorite podcast app today. And Poddex. Poddex are the hottest tool to get your next great interview. Unique interview questions in the palm of your hand. Our on-screen sponsors are On a Higher Wire by Joel. Original and custom artwork inspired by our life moments and treasured photos and memories. And Shed Services. At Shed Services, we offer a full range of maintenance services depending on your needs. Find them at shedservices.com. Like I said, tonight I am very, very excited for this one. Probably I've been a fan of this guy. I think we talked earlier, 17 years running or so since we moved to Mississippi in 2005. So I'm really excited to be able to talk to Corey. So we welcome in Corey Smith for episode 132. Corey needs no introduction. He has written every single word on every single album he's put out since the early 2000s. The fan-made man has sold over 1 million concert tickets, and tonight we are honored to discuss memories and melodies that make up his journey. I say tonight, but today. We're going to go ahead and bring Corey on. There we go. What's up, buddy? How you doing today? Do we hear you? You hear us? Let me see. Can you hear me, bud? No? No audio? Let me refresh real quick, guys. Hey, Corey, can you hear us now? No? All right, guys, hang tight. Let me see. Hey, bud, can you hear us now at all? Nothing? Can you hear me on your end? Let me get the board. Can you hear me at all, buddy? Any audio yet? Nothing on your end? All right. Did that bring us back at all or no? Hey, Corey, can you hear me at all or no? Nothing? Check one. Check. Anybody hear me? Ain't nothing. Check. Turn it up a little bit. Nothing, huh? What? Everything's showing. Hey, Corey, you can hear me at all or no? Not yet? Work. Do you hear us now, buddy? Nothing? No ears? I don't know what's going on. Like, I've closed out.
I don't have you on here either anymore.
Not on YouTube either?
Nope.
Yeah.
Now I hear you.
Can you hear me now, Corey? Nothing yet? Yeah, we're live. But we have no audio, guys. We're going to try to figure this out and see. All right, let's see. We're going to get Corey to log back in. I do apologize, guys. I'm sorry about that. We're trying to figure out. You can hear me though on your end. All right. We're gonna edit all this out, so don't worry. I don't think anybody's watching YouTube right now. All right, guys. We're gonna see if Corey logs back in. We do apologize. We're trying to get everything up and running. For some reason, we were having a lot of difficulties today. So give us 1 minute and we'll see why we're having such difficulties logging in and all this. If anybody's watching on Facebook, just let me know. I don't know if we made it to Facebook or not because of all the technical difficulties we've had. All right, guys, give us a few minutes. We'll try to be back. All right, can you hear me now, buddy?
I got you.
Dude, I don't know what happened. Something is going on our end. I really do apologize, but we are ready to go. Welcome onto the show, man. It's gonna be a lot of editing here in a little bit.
Okay.
I do appreciate it. You joining us. I don't know if you heard my intro or not, but I have been a fan for about 17 years of yours, pretty much a long career. But I want to start this way back to your first music memory, man. Kind of growing up around Georgia, and what were you listening to? What was being prominent played in your household?
Well, my dad was in a Southern rock band with one of my uncle/cousins. Well, no, that sounds bad. It was his first cousin. So he's technically my cousin, but he was more like an uncle. But they were in a band together. So they would have band practice at the house when I was real little. And I remember everybody coming in, setting up their instruments, and just how cool it was to me. And I remember going and seeing them play a show in a high school gym somewhere. And I was tiny, but I wore a cowboy hat, and I have this distinct memory of being out on the floor dancing and spinning around. I just thought it was cool. So I was exposed to that stuff at a very early age, and I also was in church, and I loved to sing in church. I was in the choir there, so I had this sort of mix of secular Southern rock music and gospel music.
So you're born into this whole thing. I love that, man, with the rich history. I also like to, because we're a live music podcast as well. We shirt support live music. I like to talk to you about your first concert experience, man. Did you have any memories from your first concert you went to, or anything that stood out to you at all?
Well, I guess technically that was my first concert, but
well, the first one, yeah.
Later on, as a teenager, the first show that I was like, that was a show that I wanted to go to, as a fan was, you remember the band Live?
Yeah, dude, Lightning Crashes.
I went and saw live in Athens at Legion Field with some of my buddies, and that it just blew my mind how awesome it was. Just all the people there, the vibe. I love the idea that everybody was there, you know, because they were fans of the music. There was this sense of camaraderie, and it's the first time I looked around and you know, I realized a lot of these people, they did this all the time. You know, I could hear people talking about the different shows they had been to, and I thought, okay, all right, I think these are my people here.
Yeah, dude, I love that you said that. 'Cause I read a meme the other day, and it literally said you can turn in any direction and talk to a complete stranger and be their best friend 5 minutes later. We all know those lyrics. We all paid to see them. We all bought their CDs, their shirts, their merch, everything, and that's cool because you're all there together because you have the same like. And I love that. And I see that a lot with your fans, and that's the fan base you built, man. Going into kind of when you went into your music, I mentioned it on the intro. You've written every single song or every single lyric of every single song. For you, man, being a songwriter, have you had cuts with other artists as well?
You know, no, not really. I did stuff with my friend Colt Ford a while back. I think out on his record, but really, I've been probably stubborn to a fault when it came to the insistence on writing everything myself. And honestly, that's something that has changed since the pandemic. I think during the pandemic, I was by myself here at the studio, or in my studio here at the house, and it was the first time in my life where I wished I had somebody with me to bounce ideas off of. And you know, I got to this place where I had the worst writer's block I've ever had. And in the past, whenever I had writer's block, it was just sort of, I took it as a signal that I needed to learn something new. I needed to learn something else. So I would usually woodshed something. I might study jazz guitar or study bluegrass or go back and, you know, listen to Dylan's catalog. I'd do something, you know, to kind of shake my head up a little bit. And that usually cured the block for me. This time, none of my old tricks worked. And I realized that the one of the most common techniques in songwriting is co-writing, collaborating with people. And it's something I'd never wholeheartedly tried to do. I'd never really wanted to. So for the first time in my career, I wanted to do that. So when things opened back up, and I made my first trip back up to Nashville, and ran into my, you know, some of my friends, ever since then, I've been all in on co-writing, and I've really loved it. And my next album will have a lot of songs that I wrote with other people.
I love that, man. I love that to see that after so long, you're starting to branch out in different ways, man, because you always want to reinvent things or look for a fresh change. And I like that to see. I kind of want to see where your music is going to go if you have a co-writer on a couple of them too, because it's already so powerful and so emotional and so moving. A lot of your songs. That's why I kind of became a fan too.
Well, I appreciate that. What I found is that as I've gotten older, you know, I've got 2 teenage boys, been married for almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years in a couple of weeks here. You know, I just don't have as many ideas as I used to have. And when I get an idea, you know, prior to the co-writing, there was a lot of pressure on it. You know, I felt like, okay, I've got an idea. I can't lose this one. It was like, you know, having a 10-pound bass on the line. You know, you're nervous. You're afraid. Oh no, this thing can't come off. It's gonna be the end of the world. And that pressure was not good for me. So what I realized through co-writing is now I can get an idea and then I can save it. And I can say, okay, this will be something that maybe I'll bring up in a writing session next time and see if I can get finished. Or if I get, let's say I get, you know, a verse and a chorus, and I've got kind of the structure of the songs there. I'm just stuck. It's nice to sit down with some friends and be like, hey, I've got this idea, and finish it. And I look back over my career at all the songs that I started that I didn't finish. And it's sort of a shame now because I realized, you know, a lot of times that's the great benefit of co-writing is to have somebody else with a different perspective to come in. And it may be the simplest thing that they say that will send it off in a different direction and go, oh yeah, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, dude. I love that too. Like I said, I love that, man. I love that story. So you started writing in college. When you started writing out, I mean, did you do poetry or anything prior to that?
Yeah, ironically, I was telling my son about this last night. I always hated language arts. You know, I went to college to be a social studies teacher. And yeah, I never enjoyed writing that much. But as I got older, I really uh, I began to really appreciate poetry, especially in how it related to songwriting. The idea in poetry, you don't have the music to lean on, right? You just have the weight of the words, and every word is meticulously chosen to move that piece forward. You take away one word, and if it's a great poem, it alters everything. So I've tried to approach lyric writing that same way, where every word needs to move the song forward. Every word needs to have weight to it, because you only have a little bit of time to share this message with people, right? So every word needs to matter.
I love that, man. You recently wrote or worked with Eric Dillon. He's a past guest on this podcast too. Good friend of ours. Love having him on. And one thing that impressed me is you've done, I mean, that was just kind of a side story there with Eric Dillon, but you've done 9 out of 10 studio albums that you produce on your own. What made you, after being so independent and doing those all on your own, what made you go over to Sugar Hill and with Average Joe's and everything to try something a little different?
Well, even that stuff was a long time ago. And
Yeah.
I don't know how long ago While the Getting's Good, I did that with Sugar Hill. I just realizing that I can't do everything, that, I needed help. And I learned a lot from each one of those experiences. And I've worked with other producers. I'm actually working on the current project with Eric.
Yeah.
So we're right in the middle of it. In fact, I'm going to be tracking some vocals for that project today.
Nice.
Oddly enough, one thing I never did was go to Nashville and actually have a session, right? You get to Nashville, the players are that's what they do every day. They go into the room and they're top-notch players. They have all this equipment. The palette of sound that they have at their fingertips is amazing. And I never did a record that way. I recorded with my band usually. And I would work with various producers, but I was still kind of set in my ways. Similarly with the songwriting, I was real stubborn. I was like, well, this is the way I did my records early on, so why do I want to change that formula? And getting to a point where it's all that pressure that I've got to do it all, I've got to make all these choices. It started sapping some of the fun out of it, I guess. And when I met Eric during the fall, I did a tour with Riley Green.
Yeah.
Eric's worked with Riley a lot, so he and I just kind of hit it off on that tour. And I was telling him that I wanted to go to Nashville and try tracking some songs up there in a much more efficient way than I've done in the past. And he was like, "Dude, let me help you." So it's been a great partnership, and Eric's a wonderful dude. I'm so glad I met him. He's been a lifesaver for me.
It's gonna be a deadly combo, man. You two together. I'm going to tell you, I can't wait to hear that stuff.
Yeah, we're sort of cut from the same cloth, I think.
Yeah, I see that, man. I love that. When you're making an album, are you more focused on making it a project that flows from like track 1 to track 12, or are you looking just more to compile a bunch of songs that feel right at the time?
Yeah, it's a weird combination of those. And nowadays I don't know how valuable it is to have a full album like I grew up on. I that's what I always aimed for, was to have a complete project, and
Like the old Pink Floyd albums and stuff like that. Those are awesome, man.
that's less important today because it's such a single driven industry now with all the streaming platforms. That said, with this album, that's what I'm certainly trying to do is I've had, because I've been doing so much writing in the past year and a half, 2 years, where I've got songs that I wrote by myself, and then I've got songs that I wrote with other people. It's given me the opportunity where now I have like 25 to 30 songs to choose from to round out an album.
Yeah.
I haven't had that many songs to choose from since my very first album. Because since then I was always touring. It's like, okay, it's time to write the album. So it's really great now to have that much material to round out everything and try to explore. Okay, this stylistically is a little different from this one. So they are nice, like two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
I've already got so many songs about love and marriage. Maybe let's not about that. So I'm aiming towards a complete album that documents kind of where I am creatively right now.
I love that, man. Because I feel like you've always written what was important to you, which I love because you always done it your way. But you've got what's resonated with the fans, with us, and you've always. I feel like there's been times where you've sang my life story. Like I'll put on one of your new albums. I'm like, dude, is this guy like listening to my life right now? Like, how did he know this stuff? And it was cool because we're about 3 years apart in age, so I think we kind of grew up a lot with the same mentality in a way. Especially when we talk about those old school albums and the 90s music too, Live and Matchbox 20. We'll get into those guys in a little bit though.
Yeah, I was always driven by this idea that if I write what is important to me, what I'm going through, what means something to me, and put it out, then surely there's people who feel the same way or have gone through similar things. And I had a lot of success, more success than I ever imagined. Like in the grand scheme of things, no, I haven't won a Grammy or anything like that. I don't have any platinum records on the walls, but as far as what I expected out of music, I've far surpassed anything like that. So I was always afraid to deviate from that. It's why I was so stubborn about writing by myself. And but I think ultimately, even writing with other people, I haven't strayed from that. It's like, well, I need to sing lines that when I sing them, it comes from the heart. I'm not making it up.
Yeah. And I think that's why as a fan, we kind of resonate so much with it because we feel it. We feel that from you. We feel that energy. I always talk about Chris Christopherson a lot of this podcast and say like his songs, man, just would resonate. He wasn't the best singer sometimes, but they would resonate with the fans. And I think that's why they loved him as a songwriter so much. And I get a lot with like your lyrics, man, just really touch at home. I love that. So thank you.
An audience is a weird thing. I never, when I first, my whole first record, even my first 3 records, I didn't really have an audience. I was just, and there was something liberating about that. I could do the best I could do with the resources I had, do something that I felt good about and put it out there. Now, when an audience emerges, now it's like, whoa, who are these people? Like and for the first half of my career, especially, I was definitely like, I can't subscribe to the way things are done because that's not the way I've done it. And now I have this audience here that has this certain, they have these preconceived notions about me and what I should sound like. And that put a great deal of pressure on me. So it's sort of like, I was afraid to make steps that would, give an audience the impression that I sold out or whatever. But in reality, I was also sort of selling out to my audience. Like, and it's a weird little place to live in. And it's something to navigate that I never expected to have to navigate.
I hear that, man. That's crazy. You play a lot of shows. You're roughly around what, 120 a year or so?
Prior to the pandemic, yeah.
Man, that's crazy, man. Just be on the road that many times. Some of the places I've been lucky to see you, of course, Chicago, Joe's Bar. That's where we're living outside Chicago now. But
okay,
my wife and I, we used to live outside Corinth, Mississippi, and we got to see at the New Daisy Theater in Memphis, Tennessee, man. And that was one of my favorites. Rick's Cafe in Starkville. You blew the roof off. I'm surprised they didn't have to change the roof after that place. But man, dude, tell me some of your favorite places that you played over the years, over the last 17, 18 years, like kind of where you see that date on the schedule and you're like, yeah, that's gonna be a good show.
Well, you already hit on a couple of them. It's nice to play at home. It's back to the Georgia Theater because that's kind of where I started. That said, it's really cool to go up to Boston, so far from home, and have people come out and sing along, and to know that it's spread that far, or going out to Denver, somewhere like that, or going out down to Fort Worth to Billy Bob's and to experience, how far it spread, is always pretty cool.
I love that, man. Yeah, because everywhere I've seen, it was cool to see, like, a lot of times, like they talk about the Texas artists, they play in Texas, they're huge, they have a following, then they go outside Texas, they don't have much. When I was in the South, dude, it was huge. I was like, man, is this going to be another thing? Or I'm going to go to Chicago to go to Joe's and see Corey play, and it's just going to be maybe a handful of people. Dude, I walked into Joe's, that place, you can't fit another person in there. I was like, this is it. This is what's going on, man. They know real music up here. So
yeah, those are a lot of fun. And frankly, the closer I am to home, the more you know, I may have friends or family come
Yeah.
out. So there's a different sort of pressure there,
Yeah.
where I tend to play better when I'm further away from home.
Yeah, yeah, you're not nervous, but not so much pressure of people looking on and want to impress or whatever. You're just like want to go have fun.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting back to Joe's actually less than a week.
Friday, dude. It's the
Yeah.
end of this week. We can't wait. I'll be there, man. We'll be there front row, hanging out and ready to go, dude. It's gonna be a good show. We're excited for it. Is there any shows that you've played over the last few years that just stand out as memorable to you? I mean, I know probably a couple Georgia ones, but anything maybe outside of Georgia that you've played that just like, man, that was a show that I won't forget.
Oh my gosh. I guess there's so many that it's hard to single out. You know,
I love that.
When doing the dates with Riley Green, that was awesome. I've known Riley for a long time, and you know, to watch the trajectory of his career, and to see him go. I mean, he opened some shows for me years ago.
Yeah.
See him go from that to playing, you know, in arenas was really awesome. And I was, when he invited me to do the tour, I'm like, man, I really appreciated it. But I was also like, man, I don't know if these people are going to know my old ass. Like, I don't know. He was just like, dude, trust me, this is going to be gangbusters. And to get out there in front of a much younger audience, I think, than I'm normally in front of, and to start playing 21 and have people hold up the lights on their cell phone and sing along, that was, especially after all the downtime after the pandemic and everything, and wondering if I was going to still be able to do this, to get in front of that many people and get that kind of response. I mean, it just like almost brought me to tears every night when I did it. And since then we've done some shows with Parker McCollum, and had a very similar response. It's been really cool to see how this sort of next generation of country artists have sort of embraced me, I guess, and you know,
there's some good ones coming up too.
Yeah, it's cool that, you know, for them to use their platform to let me get out there and do my thing and introduce myself to new fans is pretty awesome, and it's a testament to, you know, how great those guys are.
Well, I'm going to tell you, we've interviewed a lot of these younger guys in Nashville that are writing everything else, and a lot of them, when we talk influences, have mentioned your name. So you
Really?
came across them a lot, and it's cool to see somebody that was so independent and did things his way to be such an influence to everybody else that's coming in. Because I mean, I don't know what the hell you guys are putting in the water in Georgia, man. You guys are putting out some good people. Drew Parker, I don't know if you've heard of Drew Parker, man. He's another one from Georgia, blowing things out of the water right now.
You know, it's cool. But one thing, Georgia is the largest state east of the Mississippi. So Georgia's a state. The Atlanta metro area is huge. And yeah, people love music here.
Yeah.
And I think when you see people that live in your area succeed, it gives you that, oh, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. That's it's like a confidence booster almost.
I love that, man. Well, before we move on to our next part of the segment or the podcast, I wanted to see what you got going on in the rest of 2022, man. I know you're working on the album, you're doing a little touring. Anything else you got kind of going on for the rest of the year?
Well, that's the main thing I'm focused on. Is I'm hoping to get this album out in the fall. I mean, it's been a long time since I put out a studio album, a full album.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 6 years, 7 years at least. So that's my focus right now. You know, and touring's beginning to pick back up again, where the schedule is getting more regular. And frankly, I think this album is going to be the best thing I've done since probably Undertones. There's just something about it that to me, it just got me really excited right now. It's got me excited, and it's also got me kicking myself. Like, why didn't I figure this shit out earlier? Why did it take so long? But to me, as I've been listening back to all the tracks and singing to them, I think it's the best representation of the types of music that I like to listen to. Stylistically, it's varied, but as I listen through them, I'm like, this sounds like all the things that I like to listen to when I'm sitting by the pool or in the car, you know.
I love that, dude, because that makes me very happy that knowing how excited you are for this new project. Like, as a fan, I'm like, hell yeah, if he's this excited, dude, it's gonna be good. So.
I hope so. And the cool thing about having a team of people to lean on, and you know, Eric's doing a great job. The engineer Chad's doing a great job. It's like I'm able to keep enough of a distance from it at this point where I'm not going to go in and overthink everything. Because honestly, I've probably made 4 albums that I've never put out because I get to the later stages and I hate it. I feel like, oh, this isn't it. In fact, I made a record in Memphis years ago before I did While the Getting's Good.
Ooh.
And I had the title for it. It's called the Junkyard Revival. I went to Ardent Studios in Memphis and spent 3 days there with my band, and we made some really cool music. And I was producing it, and I was going back and forth to Memphis to work on overdubs and getting the mixes down. And then eventually I lost my confidence, got in my head, and that stuff, you know, still sitting in a hard drive somewhere.
Us overthinkers, man, that's our downfall. We overthink things, man.
Yeah, sometimes I'm my own worst enemy, so it's nice having that's why Eric's been so great, because he's a writer and an artist as well, so he really understands that and has helped me from he's kept me from getting into that dark place.
I hear you, man. Well, we're gonna move on to our sponsored by Pod Deck section of the night. We drew 2 cards earlier. The first one was what do you think is more important in a song, the melody or the lyrics? And when I saw this card come up, I really wanted to ask you this question, because your melody and lyrics are everything in the song. So like, you have amazing sing-alongs and straight into the melodies of the songs. Tell me, to you though, what's more important for you when you're going in or putting together a song?
It's the lyrics, I think. It's hard to parse them out. I don't know that they're definitely equally important to a degree, but in the end, if the lyrics are compelling and tell a story, you should be able to read those lyrics and have part of the experience. That said, the goal is to always make those things support one another in a way, you know, and it speaks to for me, the process usually starts with melody, right? I'll be messing around on the guitar. I'll find something that makes me feel something, that gets me moving in a certain way, and I'll hear a melody that evokes a certain thing, and that usually then can connect to some words or phrases that then get me off and running on trying to go, okay, well, what's the story here? What is this about?
I love that, man. So this next question I got, this next card I pulled, this is gonna be a fun one for me. Do you have a song that is a fan favorite that you don't enjoy performing at all? That you just like, you know what, if I don't sing this song, like years ago, I know Every Dog was a big fan favorite, but you didn't like playing it because you thought it was a jinx, right?
Well, yeah, I didn't like playing Every Dog outside of Georgia because it's one that, you know, it may piss off a part of the crowd, and that's not the goal. You don't want to piss.
Yeah.
So I usually stuck to, I'm only going to play that in Georgia. F the Popo has that's created some issues for me too. And there are some nights where I don't necessarily feel like playing that, but the crowd's chanting it, and you know, it just comes with the territory. You know, that song has been a challenge, and I can't apologize for the song. I can't. I don't regret it.
People need to listen to it and know that it's not for everybody. I mean, that's a song that it's mainly on something that happened to you that's directed to 2 different people or 1 different person in that song, and not everybody's like that, and they need to listen to that. I think they need to know that.
Yeah, you know, it speaks to what I've always thought of the role of the artist being, and that's I'm supposed to report accurately on my internal world, and that song's not made up. It's a true story. It's how I felt in the wake of that, and I put it out, and it resonated with people. It resonated for a reason. You know, the downside of it is some people just hear the title and they hear the chorus and they assume that I'm an asshole that doesn't appreciate law enforcement. And
that's why they actually gotta listen. If people would actually take the time to listen to things, they would know that it's a completely different title or completely different song from the title.
Yeah.
So, I love that, man. I figured that was where you're gonna go with that question when I saw it, because I was kind of curious about that. I have a buddy His name's Trey Lewis. He has a song called Dick Down in Dallas. I don't know, you probably have heard it. Yeah. And I feel bad. He's gonna be 60 years old in casinos singing Dick Down in Dallas.
Well, when I hung out with Trey for the first time, I was like, congratulations, you have a fucked a popo now. Good luck with that, figuring out what to do with a song like that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I love that. So our next segment, real quick, we're gonna do 5 seconds of a song. The minute you hear this song, we're just gonna talk about the first memory you might have associated with that song. We call it connecting melodies and memories, kind of like something we do on the podcast. Let me go ahead and clear these out of here. Put this up. All right, go ahead and play. Let's do that green one. Let's cut that one off. Told you we're gonna have some Matchbox later on. So Matchbox 20, 3 a.m. Man, when this song starts playing, where does it take you?
It takes me to the main road through Jefferson. Highway 11 runs through Jefferson, and there's going from Jefferson to Commerce. There's a fork in the road at a gas station. And if you turn to the left, you go to Maysville. If you keep to the right, you go to Commerce. And I remember the first time I heard that song because I was right there and it came on the radio and I was like, what is this? No, I take that back because Push came out before that. So I remember Push, but for some reason, I think when I heard 3 a.m., it was right there. But I was all in on some Matchbox 20.
Are you still covering them live?
I haven't in a while.
Okay.
Is it? But that age in my life, that shit just
the 90s, man.
Crank it. I would crank it. I knew every word on the whole record. It spoke to me.
My favorite was Hang. I was a big fan of the song Hang on that album. I love that. All right, let's go ahead and play the yellow one. So another one from the same area, Hootie.
Yeah.
Areas later on down the road, so which is awesome.
Same time period, a little bit earlier than Matchbox, but and again, that's one of the Hold My Hand, I think, was the first big single off that one. But that whole record, to me, it was it sounded like me. Like it sounded, and you know, people may not get Hootie in retrospect, right? I don't think my kids, even though they like Hootie, they don't get it the way that I got it at the time, because when, you know, coming through, you know, the big hair rock era of the 90s, the MTV, you know, kind of golden age, and then through the alternative stuff. And I was into all of that stuff, but it was a lot of electric guitar and bigger productions. And when I heard Hootie for the first time and just those simple guitar parts, acoustic based, and the tone of his voice, it was a breath of fresh air. And it was something that was accessible for somebody like me. I was just learning how to play guitar. And so I'd be like, oh man, I can do that. Like, and there was something that was just undeniably like Southern about it to me.
I love it. Dude, Hootie was country. There were Hootie and Blowfish, the Eagles, all these bands, man, way back when they were country music. And I just believe that. But I feel like Hootie, I know, or Darius has introduced, was it Let Her Cry or Hold My Hand as his first country song he's ever written. So, which is true. I feel like it was a country song. All right. The next one is, let's play Green. You're going to like this one. Right on the outside, she stole my heart. So when you hear Bartender Rehab, where's this going to take you, buddy?
This takes me to my buddy's little house on Brockton Road. When I was before I met my wife, when I was, I guess, you know, late teens, early 20s, I was wild as hell. Ran with a rowdy crowd, and you know, as I started kind of settling down, I lost touch with them a little bit more. But every once in a while, when I would come back home, I'd hit up my buddies and I'd go hang out with them and hit a bong or whatever.
Yeah.
I went to my buddy's house and we're there. There's a couple of us around, and my buddy Tony goes, "Man, have you heard Rehab?" I'm like, "No, I haven't heard Rehab." And he played that, and I was like, "Oh yeah!" And like, whatever this is, I'm in.
You covered that song for a little bit. I heard you play that song a couple of times, and I know the first time I ever heard that song, I think, was from you at the New Daisy in Memphis.
Yeah, I liked the way that in that record, especially the way that they were able to marry the rap kind of hip hop in with what I thought were really well crafted songs, like cool melodies. I thought I still think Danny's just an incredible artist. And I really like that. And in that stage of my writing, when I went back and was covering that, and I was kind of trying to understand how the pieces fit together and what was going on there, it really taught me that you can use a rap like a bridge, you know, and you can put a lot of information into a rap section. If you tried to just sing all that, you would end up with a 7-minute song, and nobody can listen to a 7-minute song. So the idea that you can incorporate a section like that just gives the song so much more depth, I thought was fascinating. So they were a big influence on me.
I love that. I love it when you do that song too, dude. I could see the influences. That's why I wanted to bring these songs out more. This last one is gonna be a good one too. Go ahead and play that last one. The dance card. So when that comes on, where's it going? Where are you going with that?
It makes me think of my grandma. I lived with my grandma almost all through high school when I was learning how to play, and I had this. This was late 90s, and I had back then you can just get online and get your guitar tab. You wanted to learn bookstore and actually buy a songbook that had the chords over it. So I had a Garth Brooks like greatest hits book, so I could learn all these Garth Brooks songs, and I learned the dance, and it was my grandma's favorite song, God rest her soul. And she would, whenever she would come home and I'd have my guitar out, she'd be like, "Hey, play the dance," and I'd play that song for her over and over.
I love that, man. That's a cool story. That's why we do this segment. I like to get stories like that and kind of bring you back a little bit and make you think of something maybe. So we're gonna close it out with 10 quick questions. This is called our hot seat. So we're gonna kick it off with the first vinyl record you ever purchased.
Ooh, probably the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Will the Circle Be Unbroken?
Okay, that's that's a really good one. If you had an endless supply of something, what would it be?
Oh gosh, vodka.
There you go. Who has the best pizza you ever had? While you're on the road or anywhere, the best pizza that you're like, I gotta go back to that place.
Oh my gosh. What is the name of the place in Chicago?
Oh, Luminati's.
Luminati's. There you go.
All right, so Friday, we'll have to bring you some on Friday, maybe. Maybe we'll have to arrange that. The strangest thing you've ever seen in the middle of the road?
Armadillo. I
hate one. Those things are rough. Would you rather celebrate Christmas or Halloween all year round?
Christmas.
Oh, I like that. What's one thing people buy you feel is a waste of money?
Boats.
All right. You're opening your dream tour. Who are the two headlining? Who's headlining your dream tour?
Willie Nelson.
Okay, that's a good one. All right. Favorite fast food restaurant? If you're in a pinch, you got to do fast food real quick. Where are you going to go?
I'm going to go Hardee's.
Ooh, that's a good one. We don't have money up north anymore, but I love some Hardee's. And our last one that we're going to do, you played the opera, you played the Bluebird, you've done some really cool things over your career, man. What's something that's still on your bucket list musically that you want to, is it the Grammy that we kind of talked about? Is it a platinum? What do you want to reach that you kind of still trying for?
Red Rocks. Never played Red Rocks. Yeah.
I shared a picture earlier of you at Red Rocks. I think you were just touring or whatever, but there's a picture of you standing there with the Red Rocks behind you, dude. If you ever play Red Rocks, we'll be there. We'll be in crowd. We'll be ready to go, and we'll be rocking out with you, dude, because that'd be an honor to see that show. Do you have a minute to play one for us, or did you gotta get running?
I actually, I don't, because I don't have a guitar up here. I'm in my wife's office.
It's all good. Normally we sound check it in beforehand or talk to you beforehand. I know we had some issues, so we didn't. We're gonna hear it Friday, so we're ready. We're ready for Friday. But Corey, thank you so much for spending so much time with us today. This was amazing interview to be able to sit down and talk to you and kind of just recap the journey.
Been a pleasure. Thank you for all. You obviously put a lot of thought into the questions. You got me thinking a little bit. So it's been great. Been an honor, and I appreciate you having me on.
Appreciate it, man. Well, we'll see you Friday, dude. I'll email your management, see if there's anything we can work out to bring you some Luminati's.
Bring it on. Yeah, I'll look. Y'all make sure to hit me up and come hang out side stage there.
All right, dude. I'll see you Friday.
All right, take care. See you.
All right, buddy. Guys, honestly, I was literally almost in tears before this episode because we were having so much technical difficulty with Corey, but it happened, and dude, that was phenomenal. Just amazing. We gonna sit there and talk to like one of my top fives. So really cool. I hope you guys all enjoyed that interview. I had a blast. I don't know if you can hear my voice a little bit. I am like on 6 hours of sleep in 3 days, maybe if that. I came back from Country Thunder, Iowa. Some cool things came out of that this weekend. I do think I'm going to be part of a lot more Country Thunders here soon. I hope. See what happens with that. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. We cannot wait for Country Thunder Wisconsin coming up and Corey Smith this Friday. It's going to be another busy week this week, guys. We have a podcast tonight. We cannot wait for it. And actually, the funny story is the guy tonight that we're interviewing, his very first tour he ever was on was opening for Corey Smith. So it kind of worked out perfect to have these two guys today. So we cannot wait. And hopefully Jillian will be able to join in on 7 o'clock tonight. So she'll be off work and I wanted to do a solo show. But I do appreciate you guys tuning in with us and hanging out today. See you tonight. We'll talk to you then.
The Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver is brought to you by Arlo Revolution. As we close the book on another chapter, remember, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. Next week, Aaron connects more melodies and memories with other fans and the artists they love. Thanks for being a part of this musical journey, and we'll see you next time on the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast.